purpose today, obviously, is to talk about your new book, which is coming out
Yep.
very, very soon, which is awesome. Can't wait for that. I actually got an advanced copy and I've been perusing it. And you guys did an amazing job with
Thanks.
everything, all the information in there. Before we get to that, I do want to hear your story. I don't think we can, skip over all the 10 things we mentioned in your
I
introduction that you
know
were dealing
it's a
with. That's
lot.
quite the hole you had to dig yourself out of.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have always been in ill health. I mean, that's kind of just like my story. It's sort of hard to not take it on as an identity at a certain point. I had my first surgery when I was 5. I had
Wow.
been born with like a mass on my lung, and so that I had that removed. So, then I had asthma, I had this, I had that. I was just always sick. And I think for a variety of reasons, I started compulsively eating. And I was a compulsive overeater in childhood. And so I used it to self medicate. And so, it's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? But like, I had some health problems, and I had some mental health problems, and I had some hormonal problems, and I ate a lot because it made me feel better while I was eating. And then I threw my hormones further out of whack by being obese. And then, so this is kind of like hamster wheel of problems. And for my whole life, I mean, I was a skinny infant, but that's about it. But by the time I was in the 3rd grade, I was definitely not of a healthy weight. And so but it was manageable. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I was overweight, but I could still walk. I could still fit in a chair. I could still, I could manage it. I was just the chubby kid. And this was a time when there were fewer chubby kids. I mean, it happened. It was more, but it's not quite as
Very
much as it is
different.
now.
Very different.
It was the 80s, so it wasn't out of the question, but it was not uncommon for me as a 9, 10, 11-year-old to get asked if I was pregnant, which is
Wow.
not great for the ego. And it was because I was like a big belly kid. And teen pregnancy was apparently more popular or more common than teen obesity, or, so, and I looked older than I was. I will say that. Like, I was tall. And so, when I was 9, I could have passed for 14. So, like, I get like that sort of. Anyway, but it was weird. And so I ended up just in a spiral of eating to cover the way I felt, feeling bad, and just kind of was this cycle. But I stayed sort of like overweight, class 1 or 2 obesity. Like I don't know how to categorize it. I was normal fat. I don't know how to say that. And then I got to my late 30s, and it just started to spiral. Like, I just couldn't control it at all. I felt it's like, I guess if you have any addiction, you're like, I'm handling it, I'm managing it, I can and then like, if an alcoholic, I still have a job. Like, you have all these excuses why it's still okay. And then I got to a point where I was like, oh no, I'm having like a breakdown every day. I was crying every day. Like, it was a mess. And I was like, well, this can't go on. I'm going to die. And that's when I finally sort of broke free of the cycle and started seeking help. So that was my late 30s. I found a low carb thing first. It took a few like this, that's, and the others before I finally found my way to keto. And then once I was keto, that was the start of my transformation in terms of really turning around my health, my weight, and all my conditions. Yeah.
That's amazing. It never fails to just like be so impressive that a ketogenic diet is amazing for weight loss. You can do really great with weight loss on a ketogenic diet, but it's a laundry list of other things that improve. When we're talking about, counting calories for weight control, and like, yes, calories may matter in some situations, but we're not just talking about weight control. Like, that's great, and we can do that. But like pushing towards, carnivore for some people, it's, the carnivore version, the ketogenic version, whatever it is, but going in that direction, it's not only the weight loss, it's all the other things that come with it. Those are really heavy conditions that you're talking about, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say along the way, I also like discovered that I had undiagnosed hypothyroidism. Like it's not just, but it's like sometimes when everything just feels super broken, you can't even find a thread to start to pull on to fix other health problems. Like the foundation is so damaged. And so it was, and that's part of the reason this book was really important to me, because just losing the weight wasn't enough. It's about like, I'll just say, when I first went keto, it was all about losing the weight. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think any of the other things would get fixed. But as I started to function better, feel better, I was like, oh, I think I can actually address these other health problems too.
Yeah. I guess that's what I mean is most people think they're getting into the diet for the weight loss, and they soon realize that's not even like really the primary motivator anymore. That's like the background thing. Right. I've often said like you go to some of these conferences and it's almost a little weird that we don't talk as much about weight loss that we do. Like it's there for sure, but it's not usually like a main topic. We're talking about like all kinds of other things that the diet is fixing. So yeah, that's amazing. And how long ago was that you found the ketogenic diet and kind of started to push that direction?
9 years.
Okay.
9 years. So 9 years ago, I think 9-ish years, I found keto. I'm trying to remember. It is 9. It's 9. I'm like, how old am I? 9. And I then did keto. And so like, I have kind of like, we could be here a long time, so I don't want to, I'll just cut me off. I can talk. I started keto, did keto. Keto was amazing, felt so much better. My depression was much better. I felt just like a different human in a lot of ways. But I lost a lot of weight really fast. And then I stopped losing weight and I was still doing the same thing I'd always done. And so I had to like dive a lot deeper into all of the things that help me manage my weight.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Kind of tying this into our topic, when we're talking about you personally and your journey, how important were different lab markers, blood markers, whatever that you write about now? How important were they to you and your information and understanding your health, not only like during your weight loss journey, but even like before your weight loss journey? Was it important for you to know different lab markers and that kind of thing, even through your ketogenic journey? Was that something that you paid attention to?
Well, I will be honest to say, like, I didn't really know much about health before I started my journey. Like, I knew stuff, but like, I was not in the doctor's office all the time. I was managing symptoms when I went to the doctor. I wasn't like, let's get to the bottom of this, because I didn't think any of them were fixable. I was like, oh, PCOS, you have PCOS, you just have it. So I had it since I was 15 years. I found out I had it when I was 15. Nobody said anything about changing it. And, and so hypothyroidism was the first one where I was like, oh, I can actually manage this somehow. And that with supplemental hormones, right? With thyroid hormone. And, but so I didn't know much about labs before I started my keto journey. And I think maybe it was my relationship with Dave Feldman. I'm trying to figure out like what the start of it was, but Dave, everybody knows Dave, but Dave is very into cholesterol markers, right? And he was getting constant blood tests. And back at the start of my journey, I was at the first Keto Fest where Dave was in Connecticut. And at the very first Keto Fest in Connecticut, Dave ran a experiment. We all like did an experiment together. And so we all got blood work done as a group to see like how we could impact our LDL levels based on what we had eaten over the weekend. So we all kind of did that experiment. And I haven't thought of this until now, but maybe that was part of the spark of me being like, wait, we should be able to track some of these things. And, people were talking about insulin and C-peptide and, all these other markers that are important for metabolic health. And so that's when I just started to geek out on the topic.
Wow.